So due to overwhelming popular demand, I have read 365 Days, the book, the English translation. The one thing I said I wouldn't do, but I've been broken down by months of reading things like 50 Shades of Grey from Christian's perspective, the Twilight fanfiction that became 50 Shades Grey, an erotic sentient coronavirus novella. So how much worse could this possibly be? Oh, Amanda. How foolish. But hey, since my 365 days video about the movie was my first video to ever hit 1 million views, though Midnight Sun is hot on its tail, I figured it was my duty to share the book with you. I'm sorry. And for those of you who somehow don't know and managed to dodge all the "are you lost, baby girl" memes, 365 literally tells the story of a mafia don who decides he's going to kidnap a woman because he had visions of her following a near-death experience, and he's just gonna keep her for 1 year until she decides she loves him. Nothing weird at all. Totally normal. Oh, and there's a bunch of weird sex. Not that sex is weird, but in the context of this story, it's weird and gross. The author, and apologies again, I'm probably going to butcher her name, but Blanka Lipinska was originally inspired by 50 Shades of Grey, but felt that it didn't go quite far enough in that direction, so she took the writing into her own hands. This is Stephenie Meyer's legacy, from chastity and no vampirism or sex until after marriage to the kinkiest people are willing to read in public. And if you guys thought Christian Grey was bad, well, he is. But Massimo, oof. Also, because of the subject matter, I'm probably going to use some interesting and weird words to describe things to keep YouTube happy, so just bear with me. But I was so confused on the release date for this. The screenshot that was sent to me said it wasn't releasing until March 4th, but then the physical edition isn't out until May, but then apparently the Audible and ebook editions came out on February 2nd. So I had a gift card, so I picked up the ebook, and then after I finished it, realized that there was an Audible version available, so I could have just been listening to this, but it's too late for that. But it's not too late for you with today's sponsor, Audible. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks. From new releases to podcasts to biopics and guided meditations, whatever you're into, Audible has you covered with thousands of titles. I've said it before, but Audible has been one of the most useful resources for this channel. It lets me go through books way faster while I'm still taking care of other responsibilities. I just used a credit on Cherry by Nico Walker, which is the semi-autobiographical story that inspired the movie Cherry, which is about to release on Apple Plus, and I have a video coming for next week. With Audible, you get 1 credit a month that you can use on anything, including new release titles that you get to keep forever. The membership also includes access to the Audible Plus catalog, which gives you exclusive access to a selection of audiobooks, podcasts, guided wellness program, Audible originals, sleep tracks, and more. So if you want to try Audible out for yourself, make sure to head on over to audible.com/Jedi or text Jedi, that's JEDI, to 500 to find out how you can get 30 days free. Now, there's a lot of issues with the writing here in general. It feels like a very lazy translation, or maybe that's just how it's written. Honestly, looking at some Polish creators, apparently this is just not a very well written series. But the ebook at one point, and hopefully all of them have been fixed by now, actually had things out of order. As in, someone would answer a question that wasn't asked until pages later, and that entire sections were in the wrong chapters, and then just the regular grammatical issues. And after finishing the book, shockingly, the movie was better in some ways. Knowing what Laura is thinking at times is a genuine nightmare. And if you love this and the movie, that's awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed. There's no denying what it is, but there's nothing wrong with reading sex stories if that's what you want to do. But there's no excuse for the quality control being this bad on something that people are paying for. Also, no shock, it reads like fan fiction, like something straight off of Wattpad. It has the very one-track mind feel of a fan fiction that the author knows people are only in it for the drama and the smooshing, but also realizes there has to be some kind of other conflict to keep it going further, but it's just not fleshed out at all. And Laura somehow freaks out too much and not enough. Like, at least in the movie, I could kind of trick myself into thinking that there was some like Stockholm syndrome at play. But in the book, it's literally like, I'm terrified, but his sexual prowess is just too much to deny. But let's get into my nightmare. So it starts with Massimo frustrated after a meeting, and by page 2, he is already talking about his pee-pee. And he has a message waiting for him from his girl, Anna, saying that she is wet and needs to be punished. I don't know, maybe just get a towel, Anna. But while this girl is waiting for him, he starts thinking of his dream girl. Yet it's someone he's never actually seen, just someone that he envisioned after a near-death experience, had a bunch of paintings commissioned from memory, and it happened to turn out she was real. In the movie, he had at least seen her on the beach just before getting shot, which explains the obsession, but in here, it's just nothing. Unless something gets revealed in future books, but sadly, they haven't been translated yet. Now, something that bothered me in the movie is even worse in the book. He gets on the plane and there's the flight attendant that just seems to understand that she's there to provide Massimo with whatever he wants. Literally whatever. I had never even talked to this girl before, but she immediately knew what she was supposed to do. And then he starts assaulting her. We are 3 pages in. Literal sex fantasy story, and that's totally okay if that's what you're into. But I swear if I see people reading this in public, like a 50 Shades 2.0, well, I guess nobody's really in public right now, so never mind. But he gets her to start sucking his pui-pui and starts choking her and thinks, oh yes, I loved it when their eyes snapped wide in terror. I liked it when they fought, when they were helpless against my strength. It is literally the description of assault. He's literally acknowledging that she's trying to push him off, and when he can't, she's trying to hurt him just to get him to stop. And he's into it! Ah! So after letting her clean up, the plane lands and he sees her, the girl from his near-death delusions. And his brother basically has to stop him from immediately grabbing her, and he says that he already has people following her. How did that happen so fast? By the time he gets back to his place, he has most of the background info on her. That's even faster than Christian, but now we know her name is Laura. But the brother's like, what are you gonna do, just grab her and explain the visions? And he's like, nah, I'm just gonna drug and kidnap her, that'll work. And everyone's just like, cool with the kidnapping? But then the booty call from earlier, Anna shows up because he said to be there at 8 sharp. And he's like, ah, damn it, not this distraction. But still does the deed while looking at pictures of Laura on the desk, and she just somehow doesn't notice. But the language here is real poetry. Oh yes, I purred gently, rubbing her wet snatch. Not the only usage of that word in this story. But this is where it switches to Laura's perspective, and that's where we'll be for the duration of the book. So she's being rudely awoken by her boyfriend Martin, who's like, wakey wakey, it's vacay time, we gotta go to the airport. And we found out that she just quit her job right after getting a major promotion, so she just sleeps at really odd times, so she just keeps yelling, Martin, it's the middle of the night, even though it's 9 a.m. And this is where we get some really bad attempts at comedy and references, and I know this because I am also bad at comedic references. She talks about how Martin likes the sunlight, otherwise he starts feeling depressed, which same. But her way to express how easy it is for him to start feeling bummed out is to say, well, for him to fall into depression was easier than getting a coffee at Starbucks. But she also talks about what a nice guy he is, how anytime he gets a major deal at work, he donates a bunch of money to a children's hospital, and how she was the petite girl who tamed the tattooed monster. It is exactly how it's written. Until she immediately starts complaining about him. As Martin had once said, he'd already had his share of fun. I, on the other hand, was a volcano of sexual energy threatening to explode at any time. Shit, you should deal with that. This is like a parody. I can imagine Stifler's mom saying that in American Pie, but as a joke, not sincerely. But they head off, she's afraid of planes, but makes it through. But then there's this everybody clap moment of comedic genius when they get to the hotel that Martin picked. And Laura's like, real ritzy, darling, a bit Louis XVI. I wonder if there's a bathtub with lion paws upstairs. Everyone burst out laughing. We had all been thinking the same thing. Oh my god, that was so funny. But they go out for a night on the town and she crashes into the man in black, which is what she will refer to Massimo as for most of the book, which was appropriate when she didn't know his name, but gets really annoying. Across 21 chapters and about 528 pages, she says it 129 times. That's worse than Bella's Holy Crow, Anastasia's Inner Goddess. Hell, that's worse than the 41 times he says baby girl. It's bad. He also never specifically says, are you lost, baby girl? I feel cheated.
Are you lost, baby girl?
But she's unsettled that he seems to be watching her and knows her name, but when it struck midnight, everybody did start singing her happy birthday, but still unsettled. And when she wakes up the next day, Martin's already gone. He's down in the lobby doing work because the hotel Wi-Fi was too bad. So she spontaneously throws a public fit and complains that he doesn't satisfy her. But yeah, you're on vacation and it's your girlfriend's birthday and you're not with her? Like, what are you doing, man? But she gets pissed, goes off to have a drink, and who would have guessed the man in black who is now in white is there following her and wishes her a very happy happy 29th birthday. May the coming year be the best of your life. Don't know about that one, bro. So she's confused and disoriented, and then Martin shows up being like, hey, how about that lunch? So she flips, stalks off, and then passes out when she gets lost trying to find her way back to the hotel. So suddenly she's awake in an unknown area and is brought to her kidnapper. And he puts it all out on the table. He's like, oh my God, you've been asleep for days. I had no idea you had a heart condition. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given you sleeping pills. Okay. I'm just saying Christian Grey would have known about the heart condition. Why am I defending Christian Grey? But he has the audacity to get pissed at her for not immediately listening to him, even though she's obviously freaking out that she's just been kidnapped. And then he proposes this totally consensual plan that she has no choice in, that she's gonna stay with him for 1 year, and he has that time to try to make her fall in love, and if not, she can leave. Hey man, you know you can just ask women out on dates. And she's obviously like, hey, I have a boyfriend and friends and family that are gonna wonder where I am. So Don Massimo, the head of a mafia family, as we will discover, rocks up with 2 envelopes. So the first one is Martin sleeping with another woman, and Massimo's like, that was later that same day I brought you here. How much could he truly care? And they also won't look for you because we left a message behind when we got all your stuff at the hotel saying that you were fed up and leaving him. But is it really cheating if you orchestrated an entire event that makes him feel like he just got dumped? And the second envelope is pictures of her family, and he says, hey, if you don't go along with this, I know where they live and we'll kill them and it will be your fault. So she's obviously pissed and horrified, and he's like, look, the harder you fight against this, the worse it's gonna be for you, so you might as well just stop. To which she responds, you know what? F off and die. But he's like, no, it's fine. I won't hurt you or them as long as you do what I ask, and I won't do anything against your consent, even if I think I have it. But you know, he kidnapped her? Bodily autonomy and consent does not just apply to sex, you weirdo. And then he makes it all even creepier by ending it off with, which doesn't mean I don't want to enter you deep and stifle your screams with my tongue. 911? All of this. And that line gets even more confusing when he says, because you're my angel and I want to show you all the respect in the world. Respect? Let's recap. He's coercing her to stay, or he'll kill her family if she doesn't go along with everything. There's no reality where this would work out. No one would come around on this. She's obviously so horrified that she even tries shooting him in the face but doesn't know how to take the safety off the gun. And if all that wasn't horrifying enough for her, she walks in on him shooting someone point blank in the head. Now, I actually saw a review where someone was complaining about how much she was fainting because it wasn't realistic, but she has a heart condition. She's been kidnapped and she's being threatened, and she just witnessed a murder. It perfectly well makes sense that she would be passing out a lot. But she wakes up the next day and he's there and he's like, I said I'd wait for your consent, but I might not be able to. I like you this afraid. I want to be your last lover. Last lover might seem romantic until you realize it might be because she dies before the year's up. And this is where things really start to bother me. Lara has admitted she's afraid for her life. He has his hands on her throat. But then she's also like, wow, his impressive cock is rubbing against me through his clothes. This is the stuff that some people actually believe, oh, if the guy's attractive enough, women will just put up with anything. But no, stop that. Obviously, physical attraction will make people more willing to flirt with somebody, but nobody's down for kidnapping. We all think Joe from You is a creep, dude from Invisible Man is an abusive creep. It's all about the framing, and this just happens to be getting framed positively. But actually not at all when you read it. I miss being able to think of Lara as Stockholm Sally. Cause then it's the shower scene where he joins her. And just the poetry of this writing. His beautiful, straight, and thick prick stood erect like the candle stuck in the birthday cake I had back at the hotel. I am shook with the writing prowess. And just like the movie, he says, do you want to touch it? No! But it's time to go on a romantic trip so he can do some business. But she's extra afraid of charter planes, so she slaps him in the face when he carries her on board. And the consent stuff goes completely out the window when he's like, okay, you can pick your punishment. Either you go down on me or I go down on you. And she picks pleasuring him. And he's like, no, that wouldn't be punishment. You've wanted to do that since this morning, so I will pleasure you out of your control. Okay, I get that I'm not the target demographic for this at all. At all. But I still can't imagine somebody in this situation picking the dick sucking option. Because I never, ever would. Ever. ever in my life. Ever, no. Power to you if that's your jam. I'm proud of you. But this is gross. I realize that people have power fantasies and in a consensual relationship have at her, but this isn't that. Don't worry though, she's suddenly super into it and begging for more. I feel so gross. This book is also obsessed with the word snatch. Based on the writing, it wouldn't have surprised me if she had thrown in a hoo-ha, but sadly no. And when they land, she doesn't want to get in the passenger seat for some reason, so he basically grabs her hair and forcibly tosses her in, then zip ties her hands behind her back to the seat. Then starts touching her, and she's like, hey, what happened to not doing anything without my consent? And he literally pulls that, nah, this isn't against your wishes. Ah! I could not take my eyes off the penis now dangling in front of my eyes. I began to pray silently. I was begging God for the strength to resist what I was seeing. I am going to have an aneurysm. Now it's time for the most confusing and confounding scene of them all. The one where he punishes her with the torture of her not being the one who gets to suck him off. She just has to lie there, handcuffed, watching someone else do it instead. Then he really goes all in on his bullshit. I won't, despite that we both know perfectly well that it would be the best sex of our lives and that you would beg for more when it ended. And she's like, yeah, he's right. But then she decides she's gonna stick it to him by dressing like a whore when she goes out to his club because apparently he's just such a big fan of them. And he is obviously pissed, but then when she takes a tumble, one of his business associates grabs her ass because he assumes she's some of the hired talent. So Massimo shoots the guy's hands off. How romantic. Then she drunkenly falls off a boat. He manages to resuscitate her, and this is where the walls crumble down and they fuck. If we do it now, I won't be able to stop. You know that, right? If we cross this line, I'll fuck you whether you like it or not. Is this supposed to be appealing? And there's also nothing up to this point that would suggest them liking each other. They don't talk, they don't know anything about each other. All she knows is this is a mafia guy that kills people, kidnapped her, and has no respect for her free will. Then he tells her that when she passed out that first night, he had a contraceptive implant put in her arm. Yikes! Yikes! But somehow her rage subsides pretty quickly to this gross abuse of power when he says, when I first saw you, I was terrified by the vision. But then I began to notice all the details of your soul while looking at the paintings I had commissioned from memory. We're so alike. Dude, what? You made shit up in your mind based on a vision. You don't know her. This is my nightmare because people do this to creators on the internet all the time. Either way, she's like, oh, I can't stay mad when he's being so open with me. But then she gets mad again when she starts thinking too much about the situation, how much better it would have been if he could have just, done things the traditional way. So she's like, hey, now it's my turn to control the sex to punish you. Okay. Then it's masquerade time, which I swear had to be influenced by 50 Shades of Grey. But first, they need to get ready, which leads to a section that I cannot believe was not edited out of this because it is 2021. Polly and Luigi were a pair of stereotypical gays, wonderful, fantastic guys, a woman's true friends, and more feminine than most ladies. Aw, this is like when Ernest Cline was trying to be progressive and inclusive. But surprise, Anna is there, the ex-lover. And her name seems like a play on Anastasia, but she acts like Mrs. Robinson. I'm Anna, Massimo's first and true love. Wow, I can't believe that's actually how it was written. So Massimo has to explain that the reason why she's so angry is that they were still together up until the day he saw Laura. So then there's like a tender moment after a bunch of anger that's like a reverse 50 Shades where she's like, I don't know how to make love. I've only ever fucked. And she's just so ashamed of that. But then in this first experience of lovemaking, he starts playing around the butt when she wasn't prepared or consented. But again, don't worry, she's into it. So they stay up talking the whole night, which is the first time they've actually done this, but we don't see any of this happening because I feel like she knows her market. People are reading this for not the context. Eventually he's like, do you want me to free you? And she's obviously excited because she wants to see her family, even though she's somehow enjoying her time with him. So he obviously takes that the worst way and is like, my brother will make sure you get back to Poland today. But when Massimo leaves, she's heartbroken, but doesn't go after him right away. And then by the time she does go after him, he's gone. So then she just heads back to his house to wait for him to come back. And then when he doesn't, she's like, I guess I should go back to Poland. And then on the day she's supposed to go back to Poland, she hears a news story about how a mafia head was killed. So then she panics and collapses. And then when she comes to, the brother's like, okay, something clearly went horribly wrong. The safest place for you is Poland, but we can see that he's on the move. We just don't have contact with him. And it turns out that they can track him because of an implant in his arm. So she's like, holy shit, is this birth control and a tracker? Or... So she heads back to Poland, and though she had called her mom and explained that she got this incredible job opportunity, she didn't call her best friend, who was immediately like, oh my god, I thought you were kidnapped. Fancy that. So Laura gives Olga the rough rundown on how she met this guy. But after describing him as demanding, intolerant of disobedience, but somehow a protector that makes you feel like a little girl, the friend's like, oh my god, he sounds perfect. Absolutely the it does not. That sounds gross. But they go out for makeovers, head to the club, and Martin is there. And for some reason, she actually agrees to leave with him to talk to him, and it's revealed that Massimo might have set things up a little bit more than he let on. They gave Martin something to make him get drunk faster, had hotel employees block him from going after her, and then specifically hired somebody to hit on him when he was blackout drunk. But she's still not having it. He tries to push himself into the apartment. She flips out, and boom! Massimo is there in the shadows. And he's like, hey, I don't speak Polish, but I think she's asking you to leave, bucko. But now she's just pissed at Massimo for not calling because she thought he was dead this entire time. But he explains that Anna is the sister of the head of another mafia family, and because they believed he disrespected her, they put a hit out on him, but he managed to make it out okay, and the other mafia Don Emilio is the one that died. So I'm sure that Anna is going to be back for some more drama. And then Laura asks, hey, is this a transmitter or birth control? And he flat out says he thought it would be easier to keep her around if she got pregnant. Oh my god, it's time to run. That is one of the most disgusting things you can do to another person. A child is not a bargaining tool. So she says, okay, if I'm pregnant, you can see the kid, but you'll never see me again. And this section was written really weird. It was like, even though I believe that a family is 3, 1 child and 2 parents, you still won't see me. But if she's not pregnant, all he has to do is like, apologize a lot? No, if you're not pregnant, you just dodged a bullet. A biological bullet. Man, I have friends with kids and I'm here breaking down Polish smut. I'd also like to point out that he knew she could get pregnant and has still been pumping her with alcohol every single day. Good thing the test was negative, so everything's fine, right? Make it stop. And suddenly he's referring to her to other people as his fiancée without ever asking. But everything's starting to seem chill until Martin decides he needs to win her back. And he sends a ton of gifts with cards that say things like, does he know what flowers you like, how you like your tea, your passions? And even though Laura's like, toss it all or send it back, Massimo's like, okay, I'm gonna kill him. But Laura is begging him not to do it, that she doesn't care about Martin anymore, and the romantic guy that Massimo is redirects his anger at her and just goes for the butt stuff completely, and she's just fine with it instantly. Then after such a romantic display, he officially proposes. She says yes. So she's like, okay, I love you, but I need to talk to Martin so I can get him to back off. And Massimo agrees. But if he doesn't leave her alone, he's gonna kill the maggot anyways. But of course, Martin doesn't stop. He sends a buttload of roses to her place, and Massimo's like, okay, he's dead. So Laura tries to get Martin to leave, but he just assumes she's calling to like flirt or something, so Massimo beats Laura there. But thankfully she steps in and stops things from getting out of hand, but now she's just pissed at both of them because Massimo's not listening and Martin's not taking no for an answer. He takes no for an answer after his life is threatened, but yeah. So then she heads to Olga in her frustration and reveals everything. All about the mafia life, the murder, the kidnapping, which seems super smart for her safety. And Olga's just like, wow, it's like an erotic thriller. Look, that was a bit of a fourth wall break, but this isn't really that thrilling. But hey, it's Laura's cousin's birthday and Massimo reveals that he plans to marry Laura in 7 days, so good for her, I guess. But at the wedding, we meet Laura's brother, who she describes as a true mathematical prodigy, a real stud. This is her brother she's talking about. But if the Martin drama wasn't enough, her other ex, Piotr, is there as well. And I guess they started messing around when she was 16 and he was her 25-year-old dance instructor. And she starts thinking about how she only put up with his abusive behavior because she didn't understand how a woman deserved to be treated at the time. But it's all good now because Massimo is definitely not abusive at all. Obviously, women should be kidnapped and manhandled to show your respect. And then the cousin is basically like, oh, we were hoping that you two could put on a nice dance performance for the wedding. And you know what? That. I would have said no, I'm not dancing with my abusive ex. But they do dance, and Massimo obviously gets pissed and stalks off. But the ex was hooked on coke, which is why Laura hates it, and I guess he had tried to kill himself in front of her, but then when they're talking, she ends up passing out and just wakes up the next day. And Massimo walked in on him trying to make moves on her and assumes that he put something in her wine. So he killed them. Lots of murder in this romance. But she goes to see a doctor to see if he actually put something in her drink, and he's like, yeah, it looks like ketamine, and we need to get you to a gynecologist ASAP to make sure nothing's wrong with the baby. Because the pregnancy test lied. But of course, at this point, she's not gonna leave him. So she tells Olga about the accidental, unplanned, planned pregnancy, and she's like, oh my god, maybe this is a sign. Instead of, holy shit, run! You really love him, don't you? You hear his voice over the phone, and you suddenly look like you'd give him a blowjob through the receiver if only that was an option. Oh my god, we're almost done. But after all the stress, Laura and Olga go on a nice spa day and they pick out wedding dresses while Massimo's away on business. But when they leave the spa and assume that it's the security detail behind them, it's actually somebody with a grudge against Massimo trying to push them off the road. Thankfully, they're driving an ultra-fast sports car, so they manage to get away. But Massimo's brother's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. The actual security guys are still gonna get killed when Massimo gets back. So they head to bed, and when she wakes up, Massimo's there and he's like, oh my God, I shouldn't have brought you into this dangerous life. I should have let you be with someone else. But she pulls the typical Laura freak out and she's like, oh, you're gonna leave me now? Right before a wedding? When I'm about to have your child? And that is how it ends. This is the book's version of a cliffhanger. Massimo finding out that she's pregnant. The movie ends a hell of a lot more tense. It was like, we dare you not to give us the sequel. It ends with Laura seemingly being killed by the rival family in revenge, and I was like, wow, that's a ballsy ending. Only to find out that there's 2 more of these on the way. Yay! But that's the 365 book. I kind of wish the stuff with Piotr hadn't happened so that they could have focused more on the drama with Martin. But whatever. The next one looks like it's moving right into rival mafia wars, so that's fun. I just hate that something was created that makes me wish I was reading or watching 50 Shades Darker instead. But that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks as always to my Patreon supporters. Subscribe to the channel. If you're new, leave a like on the video if you're into that kind of thing. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm mostly okay, and we'll catch you all later.